Hey everybody, Nikki the Death Doula here. A special kind of bonus episode. No music, no intro, just me. First of all, it occurred to me that I don't think I specifically stated in my last episode with Kate that was the last episode of season 3. So anyway, this will, I guess, be the last episode of season 3. So I'm going to be on break, but I'll be back actually on New Year's Day. So look forward to that. Anyway, I just wanted to share some brief thoughts with you. I received word this morning that a friend of mine from years back that I've known for probably 20 years or so now took his own life over the weekend. And obviously this was upsetting news for me and a lot of other people that knew him. But I have a whole podcast and a whole career around grief, and I wanted to kind of be a little bit vulnerable with you all in this moment, but also I want to shed a little bit more light on death by suicide. I did have an episode a while back on suicide prevention. It's been mentioned in my show from guests I've had, and I think even myself. But this is one of those subjects that is so deeply stigmatized. Death and dying and grief are already a stigmatized subject, but we as a society have at least a little bit of comfort in talking about it from time to time, and we throw out the platitudes that I've discussed on many of these episodes, but we all at least can recognize death as part of life in some way, shape, or form, even though we kind of suck at talking about it, at least in Western cultures. But things like overdose and suicide have a very different stigma attached to them. These are words that are whispered in corners. These are words that we avoid saying. I've had people on my show that have talked about people in their lives they've lost to overdose, and their family members will refuse to even say that that's how they died. They will use anything else to say that it was an overdose. And the same thing with death by suicide. I'm not going to preach. I'm not going to tell everybody you have to tell the world that that's what happened. That's not my place to say. That's none of my business. But by not having these conversations, this is exactly why it's becoming such a stigmatized thing. And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that these things are okay. I'm not saying that they're good or bad or any of that. I'm just saying that these are things that happen, and they're not going to stop happening anytime soon. People are going to continue to die by suicide and overdose. And by not talking about them, we're only making the problem worse. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm really talking off the cuff. I have no articles in front of me I've read, no research. It's just me and my microphone right now talking to you all about this difficult subject. This is not the first time in my life that I have been affected by death by suicide. I've had other people in my life end this way, and I've known others too that have died either by suicide or by overdose. And the problem with suicide, and the thing I hear the most from so many people, is I just don't understand. And here's the thing. No, you don't. And you won't. You never will. You can't know. Nobody can truly know what's going on in somebody else's mind. They can tell you. They can explain as best they can, but you never truly fully grasp what's happening inside somebody's mind. And no, you won't make sense of it. There are so many deaths that happen that we will never make sense of, no matter what the means, no matter what the cause. I mean, I feel like we still just can't make sense of cancer, right? And yet we have very little issue telling this person lost their battle with cancer, which that's another story for another day. I hate all these warrior and fighter and battle euphemisms. They drive me crazy. I'm getting on a tangent here, but we understand that just about as much as we understand a lot of things, which is not great, right? No, you won't understand. And I won't either. Now, I have been there. I have been in that place where it's so dark, there is no hope, and it feels like there's nothing that will pull me out of it. I know what that's like. That said, I don't know what it's like for these other people, for anybody else that has died this way. I don't know what it's like for them, and I can't explain it to you. I can't explain it to myself. When any death occurs, it's something we all just do as humans. We try to make sense of it. We like to pack things away into neat little boxes. And we like to understand things. We like things to be concrete, black and white, and to make perfect sense. And sometimes they just don't. And I'm not here to say, let it go and just, you never will. No, you can spend time, if that's what makes you happy, trying to put those pieces together. But it's also a bit of a fool's errand. It's not important to make sense of everything. What's important, especially in the moments, the days, the hours, the weeks after a loss, is to be there for each other and to be supportive. And I mean, go back and listen to my very first episode on what to say, what not to say. We've discussed that ad nauseum on this podcast about platitudes and, things that aren't exactly helpful. But oh my God, if you know somebody who has lost somebody to one of these more stigmatized manners, be compassionate. They're dealing with enough. They're hurting and they're dealing with the loss, and now they have to deal with the BS that our society puts on these things. They're scared and they're confused. So, be there for them without judgment. Be open to talking about it. They might be so scared to talk about how their loved one died because of the stigma. I've heard horror stories of people who've lost children to addiction and overdose, and hearing from other people like, why didn't you help them? Like, oh my God, did you think they didn't try? And sometimes it's gonna happen, okay? Again, I don't know where I'm going with this. I have no plan with this. I don't even know if I will put this out there in the world, but I just feel like this is affecting me right now, and it's so important to talk about this. And I know you probably hear that from every which way. You might hear a lot of people say it's so important we talk about these things so they're not stigmatized. And here's the difference it can make. We can lead by example. If there's somebody in this world who is suffering with mental illness or with addiction, and they hear about these things from people they love, they hear about how painful it is, and that they recognize that these things have happened without judgment and without pushing guilt on them, they'll remember that. And when they're in that place, they'll remember that they're not alone, and there are people in their lives that understand this and will talk about it. I don't have magic words. I don't have anything we can say to somebody who's hurting that will save their life. God, if I had those, I'd probably be the best death doula on the planet. If I had magic words that made the sting of death a little less or saved somebody's life. But I don't. None of us do. But we do have the power to be compassionate and to care about other people. We are increasingly seeing so much hate out there, and so much adversity, and so much judgment. And all we have to do is just have a little empathy and compassion for people around us. That is the strongest and easiest thing that we can do for each other. We can't save everybody's life. I can't save everybody's life. You can't either. But maybe you can save one. So listen, if somebody in your life is suffering with addiction or mental illness, don't judge them. Don't be angry with them. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be angry at whatever it is that's affecting them. You're absolutely allowed to be angry. Maybe the things they have done to you or people in their lives. That is perfectly valid. But we need to show them a little compassion. It might not save their life, but god dang it. If enough people can do this with people in their lives, it can spread. And this sounds hippy dippy, and you can roll your eyes and call me a tree hugger, because I am. That's fine. But just take a minute to give a crap about somebody in your life. Check out on people you love. I guess that's about all I have to say right now. No final thoughts, no big grandiose. I think I've been emotional enough through this entire recording. But tell somebody you love them today. And you know what? Smile at a stranger. That might be the thing they need that day. But remember, as always, your grief is yours. Your feelings are valid. You are valid. And grief doesn't always have to suck.